Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Paradigm Paradox, continuing Kamui's route. Maybe getting close to the end? We'll see. We've now had 4 save files, so... and now we figured out that he's in love with us, and he's trapped away, so... now we're gonna go rescue our boyfriend/girlfriend, magic love, and then good end, I guess. I don't know. So we'll see. Anyway, was what he said true? But if so, that means Seina's foresight issues are because of me? I wished I could have laughed it off, just chalked it up to being overly self-conscious. Kamui hadn't said anything directly to me, after all. But considering the state he was in, I knew they couldn't be joking. They've practically imprisoned him, for crying out loud, so is it like you can't fall in love because if you do, it messes up your powers? That's kind of fucked up. Seems Santa was only wrong that one time. Maybe her accuracy's gotten better because she's been predicted more often. I overheard a couple of guys who were walking toward me. What they said made me frown. But you never know if she'll get it wrong again. I wouldn't mind if it was the weather forecast, but her lives are at stake here. True, losing people's trust is tough, even just once. Maybe she should send her predictions to our phones every hour. I think that'd help. As usual, they just go off without knowing anything about the situation. It's easy when you're safe and don't have to take any responsibility. Maybe I'm no different than them. I know Kamui's in a terrible situation, but it feels like we're forcing all the responsibility onto him. I felt utterly pathetic. My hand clenched into a fist and I stared down at it. And if he tries to push you away, I hope you won't let him, as much as you're able. I know it's a big ask, but please. Mr. Zenji pleaded with me, but I let Kamui go. And then let's pinky swear. I made Kamui a promise as well. That promise we exchanged wasn't just about going to see Mr. Zenji again either. The last time Kamui did a pinky swear was with his late mother, but she wasn't able to keep it. And then he chose to make that same kind of promise with... I smacked my face with both hands. Okay, that hurt a bit, but it got me amped up. I didn't care about the funny looks people were giving me. I knew in my heart that I had to do the right thing. I didn't make that promise half-heartedly. That's not how I do things, right? I already knew the answer. Next time we're summoned... 5 minutes later. We were deployed a few hours later. Well, a few hours, whatever. Luckily, Yukonami and Moravia weren't there. We faced only a small group of vectors near the outer wall. Normally, it would have been an easy mission, but with Seina gone and the 4 of us already exhausted, we didn't get back to the command center until dusk. Good work tonight, everyone. Everyone, huh? Oh, the drama music. Dun 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 dun. And don't take your anger out on us just because you can't rely on Seina's foresight. You've all gotten sloppy and haven't been cooperating well. You don't have to be so rude about it. I interrupted him, unable to stay silent. Kaori might have been sarcastic, but Ryo's comments were out of line. Yes, well, you have a point. The commander attempted to mediate, but didn't quite know what to say. Then Haruka unexpectedly chimed in. I've heard your criticisms, but do you have a suggestion? Critiques without solutions are useless. That's too much to expect from them. They only care about Seina's foresight, but she's an expert in backline support too. You took away the backbone of our team and you're surprised by what's happening? How dense can you be? If you want to do something about it, then let Seina join us. How long are you going to keep her in the research district? Mocha and Kaori jumped in too, unable to hold back. Everyone was at their wits' end, and the room felt like a powder keg about to explode. See, I knew you all were bottling things up. You need to vent every once in a while, or else you'll burst. Ryo directed his gaze to the commander, but he just let out a defeated sigh. I completely understand that you're worried about Seina, but unfortunately, she has to stay where she is. How's she doing right now? She's been overusing foresight, so is she suffering from memory loss? Seina's working hard as usual. I personally think she works a little too hard. But Seina chose to do this. She's regretted the 2 mistakes she made in her predictions, so maybe she thinks this will atone for them. How much can I trust the commander on this? He avoided my question about the side effects. I mean, I want to trust him because I love him. He's adorable and he's kind of an idiot. But he's also a researcher, so he's not really an idiot. And then it's like, are you just being the goofy fun guy? Are you shady underneath? Because sometimes the goofy dumbass totally has me bamboozled because I don't think you're playing stupid. I think you actually are. So, But we know that he's actually smart because you're a researcher. You're not like, are you just a goofy, lovable, actual genius idiot? Like, you know what I mean? Or like, yeah, I'm just being goofy and fun, but secretly I'm planning to stab you all in the back. I know Rio's probably evil because, like, whatever. But, like, I don't know how far we can trust you. I want to. I also find you adorable, and I would be sad if you betrayed me. But, at the same time, it would be genius because, Also, I don't know how in-depth this game goes. It's like, here's some characters. These ones are good. These ones are bad. Figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, So, like, they might not have really thought it. You might not have that much more depth than what we've already seen, so. I didn't like thinking about it, but it was entirely possible that Seina was in a bad way. Also, I mean, to be fair, if he's hiding things from us, it might not be sinister. It could just be like, hey, I don't want to tell you, because then you're going to get mad and do something stupid, and, like, I don't want to burden you with that kind of stuff, Because he could very well have our backs. I feel like he does, in general. But he still answers to higher-ups and still has to do some shady shit that he's might not like doing, but that's his job, I'll update you on Seina as necessary. For now, please just try to accept this. None of us protested what he said, but we didn't agree to it either. You're all dismissed for today. Go get some rest. And good work. Rio started to follow the commander, but then he turned back as if he wanted to say something more. In the end, he didn't say a word and walked silently out of the command center. Though the commander and Rio had left, the rest of us didn't move. Now's the time. Things will only get worse if I don't take this opportunity. Nothing? Okay. It was weird. I clicked the button and nothing happened. Anyway. What do you all think about what the commander said? I don't think Seina should be left alone like this. Knowing her, she probably really is volunteering to cast Foresight more. I could use Augment to reduce the strain on her. That's why I propose that we go to her. I said it. I really did. The others stared back at me in shock. I didn't regret saying it, but I was so nervous I was sure my heart would pound out of my chest.
Are you serious about this?
I am.
An immediate response. All right, that tells me all I need to know.
What?
If you weren't serious, any help we'd give would be meaningless.
Then you mean...
I don't think it's right to force all this responsibility onto Seina alone.
Agreed. I'm in too. People should be stopping her considering the side effects, but they're just letting her do this. It's messed up.
I'll do whatever I can. We're all part of the same team. The higher-ups can't treat us like we're disposable.
Thank you so much. I started to tear up, but then Kaori smacked me on the back. I thought she smacked us in the face.
Save those tears for later. First, we need to find Seina and talk to her.
That's right. Okay, so we need to gather some info first.
No need. I have an idea where she is. Yeah. Oh, all right. Okay, I can guide you there. Haruka and Mocha, could you stay behind? I doubt the Vectors will attack, but we should still be prepared.
You can count on us. Going as a big group would attract attention anyway.
Go before I change my mind.
Thank you. We'll be off then.
Thanks for waiting. I messed with the security cameras, so they'll be down for a short while.
Wow, you know how to do that.
Yeah, you just kick them really fucking hard.
I'm just guessing. I just had to turn my volume down a little, sorry.
I'm multi-talented. That's something I picked up a while ago. By the way, I wanted to check. Have you made any arrangements for Seina? If she wants to leave, where should we take her? Have you secured a safe house?
I was surprised by all the questions, but they showed how worried Kaori was about Sena. I figured that for now we can bring her to where her family lives in the residential district. I'm sure Sena will feel at ease there.
I'm relieved to hear it. To be honest, I was planning to get Sena out of there no matter what. If Sena complains or makes excuses, we'll just have to drag her out.
We'll slap her. Kaori might have sounded like she was joking, but I knew she was dead serious.
I'm sure the commander and higher-ups will have something to say about this, but we'll deal with that later. You just focus on rescuing Sena.
Okay. I'll save my girlfriend no matter what. This feels so different from the other floors. Kaori suddenly stopped in front of me and confirmed my hunch was right.
If Sena's here, she'd be in the lab up ahead. It's been empty ever since this one researcher broke a cardinal rule.
What rule?
Rumor has it that the researcher allowed a couple with superpowers to elope.
Elope? Then they...
I heard they lost their powers, but the person who told me wasn't there when it happened. They were new, so I can't say for sure.
I wonder if it's really true. Will those of us with powers lose them if we fall in love? That's so stupid, though. We'll lose our powers if we fall in love. Like, I mean, that's just like, I mean, I get it. They kind of had to do something to be like, oh, okay, you're not allowed to fall in love because, but like, you can't help falling in love. It's not like, don't have sex because that shit, like, whatever. But like, even that, like, falling in love, that's like, don't cry because then all of a sudden your hair color will magically change. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not how things work. It's kind of stupid. But to be fair, you had to find a way, I'm sure, to be like, okay, so when you fall in love with your love interest and we're just going to kind of be like, wrap it up and now you're not how do we get away with the just ending it and them not being involved with the blooms and vectors and all that shit? Oh, well, how about when they fall in love, they magically lose their powers? Awesome, sounds good. But the thing is like, though, like this whole scenario that Kaori's talking about, oh, a researcher let them elope. Even if you hadn't let them elope, they fell in love, so they would have lost their powers, whether they eloped or not. Getting married isn't the like, oh, well, now we're in love. Like, you were in love before. That's why you decide to get married. You know what I mean? So, like, doesn't quite make sense, really. I don't know why I'm nitpicking certain little stupid details when it's like, the game overall is kind of ridiculous. I don't want to say half-assed. But you know what I mean? Like, there's not, you can already tell, like, there's not a lot of character development for, like, side characters and things. There's not a lot of world. It's kind of like we did some simple world building, simple character development. We've got, I feel like, character development between us and Kamui, sure. Everybody else is kind of there and you know a little bit about them. They're your acquaintances and stuff, and okay, but they're not important to the central plot of Kamui's story. Fine. We know him, that's it. And that's kind of all they focused on, and it's very simply done. I don't want to say half-assed, because then it's like, but it's like they came up with a plot, they came up with a story, they did a little bit here, but they could have fleshed it out a lot more, but then it would have been a longer game, and they did what they did, and they did, here's a short, quick, fun, goofy little game, some shit doesn't make sense, but like, whatever, and I guess I could see people being like, there's not a lot of world building, this doesn't make sense, but like, I'm still enjoying it. But you can't fault that they did the base with the world building. Like, okay, so then there's monsters, and then there's something, and there's probably a bigger plot, but like, is the bigger plot going to be really fleshed out, or is it just going to be like, there's like monsters, and then like, something bad happened, and if you fall in love with it, then they're no longer monsters. Cool, done. You know what I mean? Like, are they gonna, you're just gonna be like, that doesn't, okay, I guess? You know what I mean? I think it's got less depth than a young adult novel. And those don't really have a lot of depth sometimes. Sometimes they're good, and sometimes you're like, this has got nothing in it. Like, you know what I mean? But we're still having fun, is all I'm saying. I'm still enjoying it, but I do feel like if you set your expectations really high, I came in going, boys turning into magical girls, this is going to be ridiculous. And it's ridiculous. It's met my expectations. It's all that really matters. Is it perfect? No. And then when they do things like this, I'm like, I question your choice on this because this is kind of stupid, but whatever. You know, at this point, it's a little goofy. It's a little ridiculous. It's kind of like you came up with, I don't even want to say a rough draft, a little bit more than that, but then like you kind of just let it go. You know what I mean? Like, there's not we spent 6 years developing this plot and putting all these little nuances and all these things. You were like, we kind of just came up with an idea and threw it together, and it works. It's fun. But there's not a lot going on here. You know what I mean? It's not one of those, like, it's the best game. Oh my god, the depth and the character building and the world building. You're like, it's not that. You're like, we're just here. It's a goofy, fun little game. It's a little ridiculous. Whatever. Some shit doesn't make sense. But I really don't think that, like, falling in love makes you like, okay. Okay. That's as cheesy and ridiculous as, oh my god, Amnesia plotline. You're like, ugh. Really? Okay. Sure. Fine. Whatever. I think it was the cheap way of doing it, you know? But anyway. Or maybe it's, but then again, it's gonna be like, you have to admit to yourself you're in love. Like, but again, that's not how it, okay. It's not how it works, but sure. I'll keep watch at the entrance, so you'll have to go alone. Got it. At long last, I was almost there. I swallowed my fears and headed into the back room. The room was silent. All I could hear was the sound of my own footsteps. Was he gonna strap to a bed? She's in a hospital room. She doesn't even have a bedroom. Maybe she's not here. I thought I should check the next room, but right when I was about to turn around... Aw. I sensed someone else's presence and turned to face them. I found Kamui, untransformed. Kamui! I ran to him at once. He looked dazed and wasn't moving. He didn't even seem to notice me as I approached. Oh, great. We're going to do the amnesia. Super. Listen, the using your powers too much of foresight, short-term. Okay. But now we're going to do he doesn't remember me at all. And then we're going to fall in love and he doesn't. And then we lose our power. Okay. It's kind of stupid, but sure, fine, whatever. Listen, I'm here for the ridiculousness. So, like, I'm not too mad about it, you know? In a more serious game with what you're like, this, no, don't stop. But this, you're like, what did we expect? Kamui, hey, Kamui. I looked into his eyes and tried to get him to focus. I gently touched his shoulder and called out his name, silently praying he was okay. Come on, Kamui. Who are you? Yeah, okay. His eventual response cut me to the quick. I gasped and fell to my knees, of course. You knew it. You fucking knew it. It's so stupid. Jesus. Oh well. Did he forget about me? Has he continued to use foresight even in this state? Hey, are you injured? You look like you're about to cry. Of course he would worry about others, even in this situation. I didn't know whether to get angry or smile, so I just scrubbed my hand over my face. Kamui looked down at me, confusion etched on his features. I tried to speak in a gentle tone to calm him down. All I'm saying is if our good ending is he doesn't get his memory back and we have to start over, I'm going to be pissed. I said this before, I'm still going to be pissed about it. Bad ending, fine. You know, the normal ending where, like, okay, he's starting to get his memory back, but it's going to, okay, I'm not going to like it, but I'll accept it. Because sometimes the quote-unquote normal endings or whatever are kind of shit. You're like, this ain't normal. Or when they're good versus best, they ain't good. You're like, this kind of shitty. And then, but the best ending, / whatever this one is, should be like, oh my god, remember, we're in love and everything is perfect. Not this, you're gonna, no, we ain't doing that kind of shit in this game. You are not gonna give me some half-ass bittersweet kind of fucking quote-unquote good ending. Nuh-uh. That I won't accept. Because, like, the rest of the game's cheesy and kind of light and you didn't put a lot, so then you're gonna put that kind of drama in the ending? Bullshit. This better be unicorns, rainbows, and sunshine pouring out my ass at the end, alright? That's what I expect. Except for from the bad endings, obviously. Kamui, it's me, Spacey. Kiss him. Let's go see Mr. Zenji. Please try to remember me. I feel like long-term memory deep inside is his grandpa. And then maybe that would trigger, but like, don't please try to remember me. That's very selfish, and we're not selfish like that. Especially around Kamui, you know what I mean? We'd take a page from his book and, you know. Yeah, okay. I'm surprised we still have choices at this point, but I don't know. We could be 2 hours from the end, we could be 4. I don't. I've come to get you. Let's go and see Mr. Zenji. Zenji. Kamui mumbled to himself, letting the name sink in, but that was all he did. Has he forgotten his grandfather too? But that's so... Are you okay? Are you hurt? I'm fine. I'm relieved I finally found you. This is not the time to get dejected. I have to get Kamui out of here no matter what. I couldn't let him stay here a second longer in this state. Please, just don't ask any questions and follow me. I can't. They'll yell at me. He didn't say who, but it had to be one of the people in charge. The commander said that Kamui chose to stay here and use foresight, but that was clearly a lie. Aww. Look at our little CG. He looks so sad. I couldn't stand what they'd done to him. I seized Kamui's hand, and we... look so ridiculous. It's cute. Her outfit's cute, don't get me wrong, but it looks just like a little ridiculous standing here next to him in, like, his normal suit, and we're like, this giant-ass bow. Because she already looks 12 to begin with, and then it's like, now we're like a candy striper in a hospital or some shit. Well, we're kind of at a hospital, I guess. He's being, well, in a research facility, and he's a lab rat. I'll protect you. Please, let me keep my promise. Promise? We swore we'd give Mr. Zenji... We swore we'd go visit Mr. Zenji again together. Pinky's grab his pinky, he'll remember that. He'll be sad and worried about you if I left you here. I kept trying to talk to him, but it didn't seem like I was getting through. He just stared at me, assessing the situation. Kamui, you told me you didn't want to make your Gramps worry. You said you'd never felt lonely because he was there for you. So why can't you... My emotions overtook me then, and I couldn't find the right words to say. I couldn't hold back my tears as they spilled down my cheeks and dropped onto our interlocked hands. Then Kamui gasped. Gramps, he'll worry about me. And that's why I made a promise with Spacey. Kamui, you just said my name. Even Pinky swore. Why did I forget that? See, okay, I'll handle that. Like a little temporary amnesia thing. Okay, I can deal with that. I said that. And again, in a bad ending, fine. Because that's fine. Okay? But okay, you're gonna, good, perfect. This is what I want. Sunshines and rainbows. Like, are you digesting them now so they can come pouring out your ass at the end? Because that's the way it should be. When he said the words Pinky swore, my fears melted away, reassurance taking their place. We're getting your memory back. Thank goodness. I'm so glad. I sobbed and gripped Kamui's hand tighter. Kamui, you can't stay here. We have to go. I helped Kamui stand up, and we hurried to the hall where Kaori was waiting. Well... Kaori, so you're helping too. Kaori's like, now I know who you are. Oh, right, Kamui Asena, do you know him, Kaori? So you already knew. Kaori muttered something to herself, but started walking away before I could ask. Yeah, because he's over there thinking like, oh, you already knew. Like, because nobody knew that I knew. Yeah. But, you know. Let's hurry. It's almost time for curfew. If we have to bust through the shutters between districts, they'll see us for sure. Kaori's amazing. I thought Seina's identity would have shocked her, but she's right back to her professional self. I better focus on getting Kamui out safely. Well, Kamui said he doesn't know who anybody else is. He and Mocha joined later, but I'm gonna think Kaori and Haruka, since they're friends, they probably know who who the other one is. Especially because they transformed around the same time, whatever, right? And it's possible they know who Seina and Mocha are. You know? It's kind of hard to not figure out Mocha when it's the only, like, seafoam-haired boy in the school, is all I'm saying. Like, at least Kamui's got brown hair, and Kaori's got dark hair, and, like, Haruka dark hair. But, like, Mocha's got fucking, like,
seafoam green hair. Ain't nobody else in the school with hair like that. She's pretty obvious. Anyway, and this is wrong voice. This is as far as I can go. It'll be just the two of you from here on.
Thank you so much, Kaori.
Thanks. I owe you one. That's all you have to say. Sorry. Could you give a message to Haruka and Mocha for me? Tell them I'll make sure to pay them back. Alright, that's an acceptable response. Here's how you can contact me when you're ready to return the favor.
Kaori took out a piece of paper and handed it to Kamui. I had no idea when she'd written it.
I don't know what happened to the couple who vanished from that room.
Kaori mumbled something as Kamui reached for the paper.
Well, I have a feeling you might be happier if Sana lost her powers. Perhaps.
Kamui's voice sounded so gentle in that moment. I couldn't read his mind, but that single word struck me to my core. I'll never let him go again. With that resolve, I took Kamui's hand as we headed to Mr. Zenji's house. I wonder if the two people who left and eloped were our parents. You know what I mean? Because they threw that in. I was thinking that before. Like, I don't know what happened to them. I'm like, they had me. You know what I mean? Because then they were dead. And we have no idea what happened to them. And I wonder if our uncle is the researcher that helped them escape. You know what I mean? Who could very well be the commander. Or it could be somebody else. But I think that whoever helped those people escape might be our uncle, and those people that escaped were our parents, and that's why I have magical abilities, because I was born to people that had them. Even though they lost their powers, I was born with them. You know what I mean? Because I'm like super special or some shit. I'm a magical girl that transforms into a magical girl. The rest of them are boys that transform into magical girls. So, I mean, I'm definitely special in that respect. Okay? Anyway. Gramps, I'm home. Kamui, and you brought Spacey too. I'm sorry we showed up unannounced. Could Kamui stay here and rest? Sure, I'll make the bed and you can lie down. Follow me. Just seeing how exhausted Kamui was, Mr. Zenji hurried into the back room. Kamui followed after him, dragging his feet. Thank goodness. Kamui should be able to relax here. This is the first place they're going to look for him, you know that, right? I breathed a sigh of relief, and then suddenly I felt weak, as if I might collapse on the spot. I guess I'd been more nervous than I thought. Thank you for bringing Kamui here. You should get some rest, too. No, well, there's something I need to tell you. All right, I'll make some tea. Just wait here. We're going to tell him all about Sana now. The delicate flavor of Mr. Zenji's tea warmed my weary soul. After a slight break, I managed to regain my composure and bowed in apology to Mr. Zenji. Sorry again. I can't really tell you the details, but would it be okay if Kamui stayed here for the time being? He's overworked himself on this project he's a part of, and he's utterly exhausted. He's actually suffering from some memory issues. Memory issues? Yes, he had some of the symptoms previously, but then he overdid it and they got worse. He temporarily forgot who you and I are. Mr. Zenji, I know I promised you, but I let Kamui go for a bit. Because of that, It's not your fault. Don't blame yourself. No, I tried to argue, but Mr. Zenji shook his head. What are you doing? You trying to read the guide? Okay, so next time there's a choice, I'll ask you to scroll up and tell me what it says, okay? He's sitting on my chair, like poking at my tablet. No matter what happens, we make our own decisions. And this is the result of Kamui's choices and his alone. And there's no need to blame you. We all need to take responsibility for the choices we make. And whatever happens from here on is up to Kamui. I'm not gonna quit the project. Kamui! I gasped and turned to find Kamui, even though he was supposed to be resting. People need me, and that makes me truly happy, and it makes me want to work even harder. But the more I work, the more pain I'll cause you and Gramps, the two most important people in my life. I don't want that, and it's painful to think that I'd forget about you, Gramps. But you're still not going to quit whatever this project is. What did you click? What are you clicking? Don't click the weather app. Damn it, Bird, I don't know how to turn this off. Okay. He's clicking around and... Oh, no, go away, Microsoft.
You just clicked the Microsoft Thingy buttons. Don't be clicking Thingy buttons. Don't do that. Don't try to sync. We don't have any things like that. I don't need my tablet getting messed up. I cannot let you play with it anymore. You just sit in snugs, okay?
Anyway, that was what Kamui had said, but now he seemed at a loss for words and just shook his head. I don't know. I really don't. I have no clue what I should do. It's like I don't know what I really want anymore. Kamui, come sit over here. Mr. Zenji beckoned Kamui over in a gentle yet commanding tone. I know how important it is to you to be needed. That's why I won't stop you. You can forget about me. That's fine. If things go the way they're supposed to, I'll die before you anyway. So just forget about me. I'd rather that happen than be a burden on my precious grandson. That is not how you're supposed to act! Stop it! What are you saying, Gramps? Kamui was clearly agitated. Mr. Zenji patted him on the shoulder in an effort to calm him down. Listen to me, Kamui. I don't care if you forget about me so that you can follow your beliefs. But you have to find someone who'll live with you in my stead. Don't forget about that person no matter what. Never let her go. No one can replace you, Gramps. Why are you saying this? Because see... Oh, you know what? Maybe Zenji's smart. Well, he's like, listen. As long as you have someone, it doesn't matter because I'm going to die eventually anyway. Sir, please stop. Like, that's depressing. And then it's like, don't ever forget that person. And now Kamui's like, what the fuck? Why would you say it's okay to forget you? Do you see? So maybe don't be doing this project if you're going to forget people, dumbass. I'm sure he's not doing it for those reasons, but it is smart. Kamui rushed forward as if he were going to grab his grandfather by the collar. But Mr. Zenji didn't say anything and simply stared at Kamui. I know that if I don't quit, I might not be there in the end, Gramps. But I just can't decide. Mr. Zenji was pushing Kamui away for his sake, and Kamui was stuck between his love for his grandfather and the mission. I understood both sides, so I spoke up. Kamui... I'll respect your... Let's quit the mission. Let's quit the mission! That's what I want to say. I only have one hand because the bird is licking my other hand, so hold on. I want to say let's quit the mission. I'll respect your decision. What the fuck? Okay, well, you know, that's valid, I suppose, because it's like, I'll respect whatever you want, and then... Because he needs to make the decision for himself. Pushing him is not... Okay, I get it. I'll respect your feelings, Kamui. Whatever you decide, we'll face the consequences together. We can share the burden. I can't let you do that. No matter what you say, I'm going with you. I've decided to never leave you again. We'll find the best path forward. Jeez. I guess if you're with me, I can't get too reckless, huh? Kamui shrugged as if he were giving in, but I could see a faint smile playing on his face. If you decide to continue with the mission, I'll lend you my strength. And if it seems like you're about to lose your memories, I'll make sure you remember. Looks like she's reaching out to you. Kamui looked to his grandfather, then to me. He then took my hand and grasped it tightly. I still want to fight. Will you help me, Spacey? Of course. I answered without hesitation and squeezed his hand. I'll support Kamui no matter what, because I always want him to be happy. I knew it was all easier said than done, but I was ready for whatever lay ahead. From that moment on, I'd never let him go. And then we kiss him and we lose our memory and we lose our powers. Right? You think this'll really work? Mocha's voice pierced the silence. We looked over to Kaori and Haruka, who were the only other ones here. For now, at least. We shall prove this is no mere theory. Sana smiled with confidence, but I noticed her hand was shaking ever so slightly. I believe it's gonna work. I wasn't just saying that. I truly believed with all my heart. I squeezed Sana's hand, and her eyes widened before she gave me a small smile. Yes, I do too. This all started a few days ago. We spent some time relaxing at Mr. Zenji's home, and Kamui recovered little by little. Then one day... Kamui came to talk with me when Mr. Zenji was out doing work with the maintenance crew. I'm thinking of going to talk to the commander and the others. I want to propose a new strategy. I don't know if it'll work, but I think it's worth trying. Great, let's hear it. I knew you'd say that.
Calling it a new strategy makes it sound like I thought of something cool, but it's pretty simple. I want to change the focus of Foresight. Up till now, I've been predicting when the Vectors will attack the colony. I saw when and where they'll enter, and then we'd have people evacuate. But if I can move up the timing, we can theoretically prevent the Vectors from even breaching the outer wall.
You mean switching your focus earlier?
Yep. If I can predict the Vectors' path, then we can defeat them before they reach the colony. At least that's the idea. What you think?
I think you should use Foresight to try to predict where they're coming from.
I can see where they're coming from, and then we can destroy their base.
That sounds amazing. Can you really do that? Is that the way Kamui's route's going to kind of end? Is like, we destroyed their base. We have no idea about anything, but there are no more Vectors, and good for us. Because you know what I mean, like, he's the first route, and there's not as much plot, and you won't get too much plot or in-depth behind the Vectors and all of that till you get later routes, so, like, this one it would be like, and happily ever after, and you're like, it makes, what, but no answers? Okay. That's usually what happens in early routes, so I'll buy it.
Moving the timing earlier can make things a little unpredictable, but it should work in theory. I'll predict the Vector's movements and the Blooms can attack preemptively. Wouldn't that put us at an advantage?
And if we can keep the Vectors at bay outside, then the people in Theta won't be in danger.
If all goes as planned, that is.
Well, even so, you're right that it's worth trying.
Thanks. It's reassuring to hear you think so. Everyone will have to cooperate for this to work, and I'll need your augment for support.
You can count on me. I'm sure Kaori and the others will help out too.
I know it was awful of me to just go to my own safe house like that, and that I'd be asking a lot. But I trust all of them. That's why I want to bet on this chance, on this hope.
And then Kamui won't have to, like, break his brain. After I'd heard Kamui's plan, I immediately contacted Kaori. Kaori arranged a place for us to talk, and Kamui and I returned to the academy for the first time in a while.
I see. I definitely think it's worth trying. At the very least, moving around Foresight's timing's an interesting idea. So, let's give it a shot right now. I'll assume responsibility for what happens. I'm putting your career on the line, eh? You're going to just let them do this and not report it to the higher-ups again, aren't you?
Again? So the commander and Rio didn't say anything when Sena and I escaped from the research district? Don't you think they would have noticed? I had trouble believing that, but it also explained the nagging feeling I'd had that something was off when we escaped. Kaori did something to the security cameras and said we'd avoided being spotted for a bit, but even so, the place had been completely deserted. There weren't any researchers wandering around nor any security. It was like someone knew we were coming and made sure we weren't seen. You know, that's kind of sweet of him. I kind of feel like he's on our side. We know Rio's probably not, but, like, I want to believe Masaki's on our side because, like, he does shit like this and it's, like, kind of adorable. It was also odd that no one came to Mr. Zenji's house. Maybe someone prevented that from happening, right? Because that's the first place they would look. Go find his grandpa.
If we waited around for the higher-ups' approval, we'd lose valuable time.
I'm just taking initiative.
Are you sure about this? You've come to me as a member of the Blooms. It's my job as your commander to trust you and send you off.
You surprise me, Commander. I'm almost impressed.
Yeah, almost.
You know, y'all really come together in times like these, don't you?
You can rest assured, we'll show those Vectors what we're made of.
Yes, and we'll have good news for you after.
Okay, I cheated and I scrolled up, so there's no more choices anymore. So I wanted to see, because I'm like, okay.
I'm counting on y'all.
Sena predicted that the Vectors would next appear in the evening. We moved to a location where fighting would be easier and waited for them to show. Suddenly, a bestial roar echoed without warning. There was no mistaking that sound.
It looks like they're here. Yukonami's with them.
Sena's eyes narrowed when she spotted Yukonami. Kaori and Haruka, who were on standby, immediately snapped to attention as well.
Yoo-hoo! Time to play! I gave you a little break, so you better not run out of steam like last time. Oh, what's this? I spy 5 of you, so you've all been waiting for me.
Yukonami pointed at us while shouting gleefully. His eyes were positively glittering with joy.
I thought you'd all ran away because you were scared of losing, but this is great. Much more fun. Let's do this.
Sorry to rain on your parade, but we're not here to fight.
Trying to distract me, eh? Too bad I can read you like a book.
The only person being read is you. We have no intention of fighting.
Yukonami started in surprise at Haruka's insistence. I can read.
What? You're not fighting? For real? Then why are you even here? It makes no sense. Get fine. I'll just have fun on my own. Wait.
Sana had foreseen which way he'd move and was standing right in Yukonami's path.
Where do you think you're going? There's nothing up ahead. You can't fool me. What are you trying to fight? What, you trying to fight me now? Well, it's too late. I know exactly where Theta is and where all the humans are. Yes, you do. But only if you're where you think you are. What's that supposed to mean?
What is that supposed to mean? Just listen for a moment. Sana predicted your movements. I took over after Sana, trying to explain the situation without antagonizing him. We used Kaori's ability ahead of time, before you were able to get to Theta.
You used your powers on me? No, that's a lie. No one attacked me.
Didn't they? My hypnosis can't be detected by the target.
Hypnosis?
Yukonami's shock was unsurprising. As Kaori said, a person would never know they'd been hypnotized. Our first step is complete. About an hour ago, we'd ascertained Yukonami's path using Sana's foresight and then took a slight detour.
Okay, now we can rush in from behind. All that's left is to hit Yukonami and his party with hypnosis, and the plan will be a success. I'm surprised you had this idea. Making him think those ruins outside the outer wall are Theta is genius.
It's all thanks to Spacey.
Huh? I didn't do anything. I had no idea what she meant. I shook my head, but Sana continued with a serious expression on her face.
No, I was able to figure things out because of you. I was so desperate for people to love me, I thought I had to take on everything myself. And that's why now I plan to use everything at my disposal.
It's kind of a weird way to phrase it. Wouldn't it be better to just say you're able to rely on us now?
I'm also determined to live my life more honestly.
Maybe a bit too honestly now.
That's true. Selena's been speaking her mind more since you two returned from your great escape. I actually like you this way. Now then, I should do my part before Haruka and Mocha return.
I got your back. Ready at any time.
Got it. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I followed Kaori's countdown and unleashed Augment at the right time.
We're beyond the outer wall?
Yukonami looked around, clearly dazed. The hypnosis seemed to wear off after we told him the truth.
Why'd you hypnotize me? You said you didn't want to fight, but... Wait, are you trying to capture me?
Kinda.
You cheaters!
Yukonami glared down at us and raised up his fist in one swift movement. In the next instant, a fierce gale whipped around us. Yukonami screamed as a special net ensnared him in the vectors. They flailed as they fell into one another.
What's going on? I can't use my powers!
We've built a special device to capture people with superpowers. It detects when you use psychokinesis and absorbs a portion of your power.
Super cool, right? We set it up when Kaori was casting hypnosis.
Fine then, I'll just use my claws, and... Damn it, why isn't this working?
The robust net withstood Yukonami's sharp claws, and he simply bobbed around, suspended in midair. We don't have long, though. This is the moment of truth. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught sight of Sana's pigtails swaying as she moved toward Yukonami, making it easier to speak with him.
Or release you if you promise to never attack Theta again. What kind of deal is that? You seriously think I'm going to accept that? And then we'll have to take you somewhere more appropriate. You'll never see the light of day, but you'll have food, clothing, and shelter. You can play with the other vectors there. You did say you wanted a lot of attention after all.
Seeing how serious Sana was, Yukonami gulped audibly, looking completely overwhelmed. Here's the thing, he wouldn't be like, okay, fine, let me go, I'll never come back, and then actually never come back. You know what I mean? Like, but okay. But again,
we're Scooby-Dooing this ending where we're like, oh, we caught you, Mr. Jenkins. All right, good time, guys. And it's like the end, and you're like, it's a 30-minute TV show mystery, and you're like, we just resolved everything. You know? Seriously? I got addicted to drugs, but now I'm okay after like 30 minutes and somebody being like, this is bad. And you're like, you're right. And then you're good, and you don't have to go to rehab, and it's not a struggle. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? We're like wrapping this up in a 30-minute after-school special type thing. Like, so, I mean, I could feel like, again, that's probably part of why people might have had problems with this game is like, really? That's it? But to be fair, it's the first route. It's the least plot heavy, supposedly. Well, obviously. And you know what I mean? And like, of course it's going to be that way. Like, it doesn't have a lot of depth and like to the story and the storytelling. But again, I'm not mad about it. Like, it is what it is. Like, we're having a fun time. It's goofy. It's light. It's pretty, like, easy. There's not a lot of, like, but if you're looking for something with more depth and world building, and like, you're not getting that here. Like, to be fair, you know what I mean? And I guess maybe that's what people were kind of expecting from this. I think the concept and everything, like, if they wanted to make it a deeper, more in-depth game and kind of pull out the themes and like character build, a little more world build, get a little more, probably would have been outstanding. You know what I mean? But I still think it's a solid 7 to 8 out of 10 so far. Like, I'm having a good time. That's all that matters. I'm not sitting here like, God, this is boring and there's too much and like whatever. Some of the games that people really enjoyed a lot, I'm like, would never play them again. This one I'd pick up and probably play again just because it's fun, it's goofy, and a little ridiculous, and like, sometimes that's what you need. I don't know. You know? I'm not bored. That's for sure. You know what I mean? And again, for the length of it, for it being like a shorter game, it's not gonna have the depth of other games. You know what I mean? Anyway. What shall it be? Yukonami looked down as he mumbled, his voice turning to ice. Yukonami? What's gotten into him? Could the net have absorbed too much of his powers? Oh, someone's gonna get... Worry crept over me as I tried to look at Yukonami's face, but he suddenly let out a piercing scream. No! Let me out of here! You're gonna take me to the research district, aren't you? I'm sure those people made this net too. They always do whatever they want. Damn you! Yukonami howled and tried to tear through the net, repeatedly slashing at it with his claws. The Vectors whimpered, signaling that they also understood the gravity of the situation. They seemed concerned about Yukonami, but he didn't pay any attention to them. Yukonami, calm down! The net will only hurt you if you keep attacking it. What's the difference between you and me? Yukonami cut me off. He gripped the net tightly and brought his face closer to Seina's. Why can't I be on that side? I just wanted someone to look at me. Someone to need me. Yukonami's painful cries called up an image of Kamui in my mind. I'm not going to quit the project. People need me. That makes me truly happy. And it makes me want to work even harder. That's right. Yukonami and Kamui both... Yukonami bawled like a child. Seina looked up at him and bit her lip, conflicted.
It looks like we can't negotiate right now. Shall I use hypnosis again to make sure he doesn't attack people after we free him?
Could you hold off on using hypnosis? We heard a voice coming from above. I gasped and turned to see Hyuga and Moravia, just as we'd expected. Well, it was more that Seina predicted it. She informed us that Moravia would come if we captured Yukonami. But she didn't mention Hyuga, so I assume he was an unpredictable factor. But this was all Seina saw. We didn't know what'll happen from here on out. So I'll simply have to move forward the way that I think is best. Isn't that right, Lizzie? I calmed my trembling legs and took a step forward. Let's negotiate, Moravia.
Huh? What are you talking about?
We'll release Yukonami if you promise never attack the colony again. What do you say? It was a major gamble, but I had to try. So that's your answer. You gonna take that? She's calling it a negotiation, but I don't see no benefit for us. He's gonna end up kind of having a voice very similar. Like, I can't, like, you know what I mean? Like, he's got a voice very similar to Kamui. We'll figure it out as we go when we get him, but, like... We can't... Because you know what I mean? Like, he's got the tough guy, but that's, like, it's too similar, but, like, whatever. It's okay. They're not going to be around each other a lot. I doubt Kamui's going to be around a lot when we get to Hyuga, and Hyuga has not been around, you know, so... We can't just... We can just grab Yukonami net and all, and they're beyond the outer wall so we can sit tight until they run out of power. Besides, we don't even know if they'll keep their word. They got no real authority, and their superiors will just take advantage of us. He had a point, but that didn't stop Mocha from firing back an angry retort. You're just shooting your mouth off. From our point of view, you're the ones who can't be trusted.
I had a feeling things would end up like this. What's your plan now?
Kaori stepped in front of Mocha and shot me an exasperated look. We really should release Yukonami in a show of good faith, but Mocha and the others would never agree to that. But I'm not going to give up. I want to try and continue to negotiate. Sena, what do you think? Well... Sena blinked slowly in concentration, staring at Moravia and Hyuga all the while. She'd been silent ever since Moravia and Hyuga had come to the scene. It was as if she was observing them.
And you predicted Moravia would come. Oh, you predicted Moravia would come. You didn't say so at the time, but you had a plan, right?
Yes, I did, but Spacey beat me to it. What? Then you were planning on doing the same thing? Is that so surprising? You all said we could communicate with Moravia. Oh, right. Back when Moravia was looking for Yukonami.
She seriously just left, and we were able to hold a conversation with her.
Well, I'm not sure I'd call that a conversation. Moravia believed us when we told her Yukonami was already gone, and she left without fighting. I never used my powers at that time and was going in and out of consciousness. I only heard what happened later. But since you all seemed to think it was possible, I trust you. I thought it was worth a shot. Sena smiled broadly and turned her gaze toward Moravia. I see. That's quite a bold gambit. Moravia held Sena's gaze, a playful smile on her lips. She seemed to be enjoying this. Very well, I'll play along. If you're worried about taking us at our word, go ahead and cast hypnosis on us. Does that sound all right, Hyuga? Fine. Hyuga simply nodded, and even though he looked like he wanted to put up a fight. But then he snapped at us, unable to hold back. You can be all buddy-buddy with us now, but what are you going to tell the others, huh? You played hero behind their backs, and what if your reckless plans put everyone back there in danger? You care about the strangest things, Hyuga, and that's none of our concern. Perhaps Moravia had finally convinced him, because Hyuga didn't say anything more. We shall cast hypnosis on you now, so would you come down here? I don't mind, if that's what will satisfy you. Moravia nodded and slowly started to descend. Hyuga waited a few moments before following her. The truth will come out, you know. Doing this won't stop it. Moravia whispered that right before Kaori's hypnosis hit her. So it's basically like we're going to hypnotize them, they're never going to come back, and all the questions and things are left unanswered, basically. Okay, again, 30-minute after-school special where we resolve all the problems, and you're like, you didn't really resolve the problems, you just pretended you did, but we're supposed to take it as... Okay, but again, first route, not going to get all the story. They had to kind of tie it up in a little bow, and this is how they did it. So we don't have to worry about the vectors anymore. I posed that question to the others as we watched Moravia walk away. I don't imagine they'll stay away forever.
Oh, we should be safe for now. It'll buy us enough time to recover, for sure. Higher-ups are still going to be trouble. We need to figure out how to deal with them now that we've bought more time.
Kaori clenched her fist with determination. Mocha and Haruka nodded resolutely in agreement, which helped to assuage my fears. It's going to take a lot of work. Let's head back to the command center. All you may go on ahead. There's somewhere I must drop by first. Oh, then would you mind if I went with you? I wouldn't want you to be by yourself. Please do. I'll be needing your assistance. Like, you need me to use Augment? I'll tell you the details once we get there. After that, Kaori and the others repeatedly asked Sena what was going on, but she wouldn't say anything more, going to Grandpa's, and I wouldn't find out just how much she needed my help until we got to the residential district.
bid farewell to the others, and by the time we arrived in the residential district, it was already past midnight. It was the darkest time of night, and we didn't see a soul as we strolled down the street. All was quiet as the town waited for the sun to rise.
Hey, I smell curry.
Kamui sniffed the air and gave a small laugh.
Smells delicious. I wonder which house it's coming from. Curry tastes good even when you let it sit out overnight.
The buildings around us all showed signs of damage from the Vector's attacks, but Kamui smiled as if that were all a distant memory.
What are you laughing at?
You said something just like that when we visited Mr. Zenji for the first time.
Oh, right. Yeah, I think I did. We smelled curry back then, too.
Kamui let out a hearty laugh, but fatigue clearly showed on his face. His transformation came undone, which just proves how exhausted he is.
I'm glad we were able to ride before sunrise. At this hour, everyone... Huh?
Sena, your transformation...
It's just you and me, Spacey, so it's okay for me to undo my transformation. Hey, why the silent treatment? You're not gonna say you prefer Sena over me, right? I'd definitely get jealous if you said that, 100%. Though, I guess it is still me.
He said he undid his transformation on purpose, but the truth is, I didn't want to follow that thought any further, and shook my head to cast off whatever ominous feelings lingered in my mind. Because he's falling in love, so he's slowly losing his abilities. Kamui, can you tell me what's going on now? I assumed you wanted to stop by Mr. Zenji's house, but that's not it, is it? If you were just going to visit your grandfather, you wouldn't need my augment ability. And why separate from the others? What do you need my powers for? Kamui just smiled wryly in response.
Where do I start?
Kamui stood still, his gaze wandering aimlessly over the ground. Is it that difficult to talk about? Worry and impatience crept over me as if I were being slowly burned.
You probably already noticed, but...
After a long pause, Kamui started talking in a quiet voice.
My powers are disappearing. Because I'm in love. So that got me thinking, I want to use my powers to help everyone before they disappear completely.
He didn't give me a moment to respond and barreled on through cheerfully. Kamui said that he was in love, but he's not saying anything directly or letting me get a word in edgewise. Falling in love causes us to lose our powers, so he was making the right decision. I understood that logically, but it still made my heart hurt so much I thought I'd cry.
I know it's just for my own satisfaction, but it made me really happy to think that all these people needed Sena.
Why?
What did you say?
Why are you trying to use up your powers? They might be vanishing, but you still have some time. Before I knew, my frustration spilled over and I couldn't help but yell. Are all those people that important to you? Yes, your foresight protected everyone from the Vectors, and people need you as a member of the Blooms. But you're not just Sena, you're Kamui too. Have you forgotten about all the people who need him? Please tell me that's not true. I looked up at Kamui, hoping he'd tell me I was wrong.
Yeah, maybe that's so. If I were the person I was back in the research district, I would have prioritized all those people who needed Sena.
And now? My voice trembled and came out as barely more than a whisper. Kamui gently smiled at me.
I don't want to take care of myself just as a member of the Blooms, but also as an individual. Hey, you remember what I said to Yukonami before we cast hypnosis on him? You were being modest then, but I really was only able to come up with that plan because of you. I've been so desperate for everyone to love me, and I wanted y'all to think that Sena's foresight was critical to our mission. I know this might make you think less of me, but the more exhausted I became from using my powers, the better I felt. I wanted everything for myself, so I tried to take on every responsibility, which led them to locking me up and leaving me with nothing. Isn't that ironic?
Kamui flashed a self-deprecating smile as he chastised himself.
I loathed myself with every fiber of my being, and yet you never gave up on me, Spacey.
Of course I didn't. Kamui smiled at my impassioned response.
You say it like it was nothing, but it was life-changing for me. It made me so happy. I love everyone in the Blooms. Each one of them's dear to me, and I trust them implicitly. That's why I decided to pin all my hopes on that plan. I can't fully trust myself, but when I'm with the Blooms, I get the feeling... No, I know everything will go well.
No foresight necessary?
You know, I've learned to trust my gut over foresight when the going gets tough.
Kamui grinned broadly as I teased him. He had such an innocent, bright smile. I've never seen him smile like that before.
My gut's telling me this. Losing my powers is unavoidable, so I should do what I want while I can. Is it self-satisfaction, self-sacrifice, or just forcing my good intentions on others? How one views it will depend on the person. But I just intend to do all I can. I think everyone deserves to have hope. Maybe I'm being a bit egotistical, but this is all from the heart. Seriously.
Kamui laughed as he said this, and there wasn't any trace of despair in his voice. Kamui, if that's truly what you want, then I'd like to help.
I'd hoped you'd say that. Thanks so much.
So what are you going to use foresight for?
I'll give you a hint. It has to do with predicting a future where the Vectors don't attack. Everyone in the colony thinks Seina's broadcast was cancelled because her predictions started to be wrong. So they believe the Vectors will continue to attack and their towns will be destroyed. And unlike the Blooms, they can't fight back, so everyone's just going to keep worrying.
So you think if you predict a future where the Vectors aren't attacking, you'll alleviate their fears?
I'm not sure about that, actually. People would still be anxious even if Seina told them. I think there's a different way to do it.
Kamui flashed me a wry smile, and I realized I'd gotten it wrong. But it wasn't the sort of thing you'd apologize for, so I simply nodded for him to continue.
Telepathy? I think that's the right word for it. I'm thinking that I can share the image I get from foresight with everyone, you know? Right now, before anyone wakes up, it'll be easier for them to see it at this hour when they won't know if they're dreaming or not. And I don't know how far it'll reach, but it'll need to be pretty big. That's why I need your augment, Spacey.
Just wait a minute. I interrupted, needing a moment to process all this new information. Even with augment, if you do this, you'll lose... I couldn't bring myself to finish my sentence and cast my gaze downward.
That's right. I could lose my memories.
He said it with such nonchalance that I felt anger begin to bubble up inside me. I glared at him. Okay, now you're bringing it back to like, he might forget everything. Don't you fucking do that game. We had sunshines and rainbows. Ready to go. Don't you take them away. Kamui, you have to take this seriously. But I could see that he was completely serious. The rest of my words died on my lips.
It'll be alright. I know it won't happen as long as I'm with you. Besides, even if I do lose my memories, you said you'd help me remember, right?
I couldn't argue with him there. If you decide to continue with the mission, I'll lend you my strength. And if it seems like you're about to lose your memories, I'll make sure you remember. The motherfucker remembers everything we say.
Because you said that, I was able to say what was really on my mind. That I still wanted to fight. I'd only been pretending to be confused. The situation's changed now, but is that promise still good?
I'd be lying if I said I had no qualms about this, but I decided I'd never let him go. Yes, of course. I nodded, took Kamui by the hand, and squeezed.
Thank you.
He squeezed back and smiled, but I noticed his voice and fingers were shaking ever so slightly, like he was about to cry. Seeing him like that caused a pain to shoot through my heart. Tears sprung to my eyes. I have to snap out of it. Now's not the time for tears, and if I have to cry, it should be out of happiness. That was what I told myself as I slowly unleashed Augment, but he's not supposed to be able to use his powers when he's not transformed. Okay. A faint light enveloped Kamui, and in the next instant, Seina stood before me. Okay, that's what I was like. Wait a minute.
Come along now. It's time for our final task. Let's give it our all.
Yeah. Night was coming to an end. I closed my eyes and matched Seina's breathing. I could feel heat from Seina's hand, and in the next moment I felt a strange presence as an image passed through me. A town with no vectors, people laughing, ordinary days passing by in happiness. Images like that continuously came to my mind, flowing through me. So this is what Seina sees as the future. I heard a pained sigh, and the images flickered out. In the next moment, Seina leaned on my shoulder, drawing in shallow breaths. She's close to her limit. Come on, Seina, you can do it. Just hang on. I said a small prayer and charged more power into my fingers as I continued to cast Augment. Then a brilliant light flashed, blinding me. I couldn't see or hear anything. I didn't even know where I was standing. It was as if I'd been catapulted into outer space.
Hear me, Spacey? Please, open your eyes. It's done now.
That's Sana's voice. Well, I slowly blinked open my eyes and saw the morning sun rising in the sky. A comforting warm light seeped into my body and I saw Sana looking at me, concern evident on her face.
You're awake. Thank goodness.
Sana, your foresight. I was able to... My voice was hoarse from overusing my powers, and I couldn't finish what I wanted to say. But Sana knew what I was getting at and nodded immediately in response.
Yes, I was able to project my foresight predictions, and it was all thanks to you.
Sana smiled, but something about her seemed so fragile. It was as if she could vanish at any moment. No, she really will vanish. Sana's figure blurred, and I knew her time had come.
I truly have enjoyed everything. You will remember me, right? Promise?
Of course. Tears flowed freely down my face. I wanted to burn her image into my mind, but my vision was blurry. Sana had used up all her powers. And so, her transformation came undone, and she turned back into Kamui. Kamui pitched forward and fell to his knees, unconscious. Aww. Look at us holding him. This is our little CG. It's cute. Kamui! I quickly reached for him and tried to hold him up, slowly laying his head in my lap. Kamui, say something! His eyelids fluttered slightly when I called to him. Please.
Spacey?
Oh, thank goodness.
Tears are pretty salty, huh?
What?
I'm sorry for making you cry.
Oh. I finally realized tears were streaming down my cheeks. They dropped onto Kamui's eyelids and ran down his cheeks to his lips, glistening in the morning sunlight.
Don't cry.
Kamui tenderly caressed my cheek, then moved to stroke my hair. I leaned forward right as Kamui's hand gently pulled me close.
Oh! We kiss him! Girl! Good for us!
I pressed my lips to his, my emotions surging forth. I tried to convey all I felt for him in that single kiss. I like that. Power to her. It's probably due to my tears, but I tasted a little bit of salt mixed with a hint of sadness.
I never knew finding someone who'll never let me go could make me so happy.
Kamui laughed with a happy sigh. His breathing grew quiet as if he were at rest, and he thought for a moment, blinking slowly.
I'll never forget you, Spacey.
That sounds so final, but you know what I mean? Like, I found myself without words, so I just grasped Kamui's hand as tightly as I could. You know what I mean? It's like, I'll never forget you. Like, it's like, whoa, like we're parting or someone's dying, but you get, like, because now he doesn't have to use his powers, and his powers were going to make him forget. Like, but it just still seems so weird. The instant response is, whoa, and then you're like, okay, makes sense. The same story dominated the news cycle the next few days. All of the residents in Theta had the same dream. It sounded utterly absurd. And then just yesterday, the government announced a shocking report. Thanks to the amazing efforts of the Special Forces, the Blooms, the entire pack of Vectors had been defeated. There was a chance a new group could be discovered, but the government was going to enact more countermeasures and provide additional security. The announcement was a blend of truth and lies and left me with mixed feelings about everything. But the people in town thought Sana had shown them a prophetic dream, and I had a change of heart when I heard how overjoyed they were.
I mean, I just intend to do all that I can. I think everyone deserves to have hope.
This is what Kamui meant. It's why he used up all his powers to share foresight with them. I mean, I know we're like over time, but I figure this is the end, so we'll just wrap it up even if this part goes long. Okay, for some reason, if it goes to like closer to 2 hours, I will break it up, and then this will probably be in the middle of whatever. We'll see what happens. Oh my god. I know we'll never see Sana again, but our life will continue on. Unless this is the actual end. It's not. It's not the end.
Morning.
Good morning to you too.
Not today either. Maybe those other times were a fluke.
Kamui was at a golden retriever levels of energy today, and I had no idea what he was talking about. I know from past experience I shouldn't even ask, but what are you talking about? Curiosity got the better of me, and I asked anyway. Kamui gave me a bright smile as if he'd been waiting for this moment.
Yeah, it's always better to ask directly. Okay, so you've held my hand before, right?
Well, when you were a girl.
It always makes me really happy, but you haven't done it in a while. So I thought maybe those other times were just accidents.
Kamui peered into my face, a playful twinkle in his eyes, like he's kind of fucking... He really is golden retriever energy right now, and it's kind of adorable, and I love it. It's true I'd held his hand before when it really mattered, but Kamui knew that. His memory was still perfectly intact. With the commander present, researchers had checked Kamui over and said his good health was practically a miracle. Sana had depleted all of her powers, and then some. By their calculations, her lifespan should have been shortened on top of losing all of her memories.
Wow, so we pulled off a miracle? Can't say I'm surprised. It's all because of you. That's how amazing your power is. I know the commander already said this, but don't tell anyone you were with me at that time. They'd probably want to experiment on you.
I took Kamui's advice and kept my involvement a secret. As for our work with the Blooms, we were just having regular meetings for the time being. So he's still Sana then? I thought, like, he used up his power and she was going to be gone, so it makes it sound like she's still there? Huh.
Or maybe you're being reserved because other people are around. You don't have to worry about them, you know.
Kamui flashed me an innocent smile, but I could sense the other girls around us shooting daggers at me.
Think about it. Aw, that's just another way of shooting me down. I thought we were much closer now. Or was I just assuming?
Kamui slumped dejectedly and looked at me like he wanted to say something. Girl, hold his hand. You kissed him, for God's sakes. What's wrong?
Huh? Well, you know...
Kamui glanced around while mumbling something unintelligible. Kamui, is something wrong?
Well, it's just that your augment ability doesn't seem to be fading, and you know, I've been wondering about that.
Kamui whispered to make sure no one else heard him. I lowered my voice as well. That's because our parents are the... Yeah, okay, come on, we know this. You know, you're right.
So it's still the same?
His voice sounded full of determination, but I wasn't quite sure what he was driving at. Oh, he's thinking like, because you're not in love, so you're... Well, that's true, you're in love, so you should have no more powers. But he's like, so you're not in love with me because you still have powers. I'm special because I was born of two people that had powers, not I just magically developed them. See, I'm super special. I think so. I haven't used it since that day, so I don't know for sure. Yeah, that's exactly what... I kind of forgot about that.
I knew it.
Kamui heaved a huge sigh and leaned forward, placing his hands on his knees. Are you okay? The answer is always going to be no to that.
I'm fine. Totally fine.
You don't look fine.
I am. Seriously. I've just renewed my resolve to keep at it.
Kamui looked up at me with a fearless smile.
Looks like the road to romance is long and winding.
What?
Oh, nothing.
He said long and winding. Does he think I don't share his feelings? Oh, right. He never officially told me how he feels. We kissed, but Kamui's still acting like he did before.
What's wrong?
Oh, I've just renewed my resolve to keep at it. I declared my intentions with a grin. He stared back at me blankly for a moment, and then he laughed. I was like, if you two idiots can't admit your feelings, like, what the fuck, dude? That's not the ending I wanted. I mean, it's like, you're leaving it open, but, like, that should be the normal end. Like, oh, maybe someday we'll get together, and we know that we will. But, like, no, this should be like sunshines, rainbows, we're dating, holding hands, and making out and making people sick. That's what I want, man.
Then I guess I should say good luck to the both of us.
Yeah. He just assumes we don't have feelings for him because we haven't lost our abilities. But that's because we special. I responded with enthusiasm and took hold of his hand. No wonder he's got a shocked look on his face.
Spacey?
We better hurry or we'll be late.
Right. Yeah, we should totally get going.
Kamui dropped my hand for a moment and then grasped it once more, intertwining our fingers. I looked up at him, surprised. Our eyes met and he returned my gaze with a shy smile. I'm gonna visit Gramps after school. Wanna come with? Absolutely. I've been hoping you'd ask. Oh, of course I'll go. I'm looking forward to it. Kamui's laughter echoed beneath the blue sky. Seems his bashfulness only lasted a second. I laughed along with him and squeezed his hand. I love you, Kamui. I didn't have the courage to say it out loud yet, but in my heart I told him exactly how I felt. I swore to myself with every breath I took that I'd never let go of his hand. Okay, that's kind of cute. All right, I'll take it. That's our end. Okay. Well, there you go. No, you can't. You can't sing theme songs. Ooh, top secret. And I'm assuming. Okay, let's see something. Activity reports. Okay. Oh, no, those are... Oh, wait. Oh, here we go. Okay, so these are just... It doesn't tell you which ones are new, though. So the problem is top secret, unknown, Bloom's conversation, and notes. Okay, so we can probably... My thing is obviously, we can read Kamui's, whenever. But, okay, that's not what I meant to do. But, Bloom's conversation 2, the Bloom's shameful past, that seems like a generic thing, since, but how are we gonna know if I'm not gonna remember which ones we've read. You know what I mean? After we go through each person's, and there's no way to get to them and read them at the time we unlock them. You know what I mean? But I feel like we should read them before. Kamui's okay, we can read his because we'll know. But all the rest, I guess we maybe have to remember we read the first 3 and then the Kamui ones. Anyway, we can read those after our next part because this one's long. So we can do that after our bad endings or whatever, or we'll just see what happens. So let's reminisce, shall we? Yes, we shall. Oh, look at that beautiful bastard. He's one of my favorites. He's gorgeous. I'm oh, here you go. I also like Ibuki too. He's really cute. Yeah, see, and they put Rio here with the bad guys, so they're not hiding it at all. You know what I mean? Movie. Oh, those are probably the opening and end credits or whatever. Anyway, so there's 2, so I'm assuming those are from other endings. Or maybe there's a total credit scene. All right. Hold on. Oh, no, game. There's only one version of each CG anyway, but you know what? You know what I don't like? I don't like when you hit A and it goes and it treats it like the back button. Don't fucking do that. It should act like it shouldn't do anything. That takes me out of looking at my CGs and I don't like it. Granted, there's only one version of each one of these CGs. I don't think we've ever seen multiples, so... And in this game, it doesn't necessarily matter as much because sometimes there's 2 versions of CGs and I don't like hitting A and then it goes back and then I gotta open it and then you gotta go, you know what I mean? It's it just ruins it. It ruins the browsing through CGs. Takes me out of the CG process and I don't like that. You know what I mean? That's adorable. We both look like 12 here though. She looks ridiculously tiny, but he also looks like an adorable 12-year-old. So it's this a middle school memory to me. You know what I mean? Oh, that's cute though. And then Gramps, how adorable. I think there's only these ones. My favorite ones are always the ones where it's just our cute little boyfriend and oh wait, actually, this one did have 2 versions. I remember that after the fact. That counts as a different one. So, I remembered it. I remembered it, though. But you know what I mean?
They all otherwise say one of one, and that's the only one. Okay. All right. So there you go. Because I don't want to have to go in and then you gotta hide this, and then, you know what I mean? And then you gotta, I don't want to do that for everything. It takes you out. You want to be able to cycle through them and, like, go back and everything and, like, see all of them. But anyway, I don't know. I enjoyed it. Kamui's art was pretty good. He's pretty solid. Like, he's not my normal type, even though he's the flirty boy. But, like, he's also, like, the flirty bro dude. Like, I don't know. Like, hey, you combine two different characters. I'm sure we've had characters like him before, but it's not your quintessential typical, you know? So, whatever. It is what it is. Like, that one's adorable and winking at us. And this one's cute, but I kind of like this one. This is Kamui, pretty much, right? Just adorably winking at you. But yeah, we'll do, I guess, the next part. Okay, so then what have we been playing his route for, like, probably 6 hours? I think this is, like, the fifth part. And then, so we have one, it only says 1 CG for one of the bad endings. Huh. Where's the other one? Is it like let's see something. Unlocks the investigation. Oh, last CG is his investigation and activity reports. Okay. So we'll do the endings, the other endings. Hopefully I don't see any reason why we can't get through them because we'll be skipping a lot. And then we'll read the investigation reports and stuff like that for him, and then maybe the Blooms one. Maybe we'll just see what happens, but we'll definitely read the ones that have his name on it. Maybe we'll read the Blooms ones, like, at the end or something. I feel like we should read them as they come up. I wish when they popped up that you could go read them right then. You could push a button, but it doesn't seem like any button does that. You guys will let me know if you've played this game and you know which button does it. I mean, you saw me go into the options. I'm pretty sure I did that with you to see which one click. And none of them say, like, to review the activity or anything. So none of these have posted yet because I'm trying as desperately as I can to get ahead. So if you've mentioned it, I'm not ignoring you. Just none of these have gone up yet. I think they start posting in a day or so. I'm not sure. But anyway. But yeah, we'll do all of his bad endings, and we'll try to do all the activity reports and like that in the next part. Might also be another long part. We'll see what happens. If all the endings take too long, maybe we'll do the activity reports as a third part, and, like, good for us. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, so I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.